God! It's hideous. But beautiful in an ugly way. But mostly hideous. Ugh. Now the main problem area is up here. All of this going on up here is what's causing me the most physical discomfort. It's like a visceral reaction of discontent coming from this area. This area is not good either. I hate this, but I'm mainly worried about this.
Hello everyone, it is the me, Game Penguin 21, and don't you just love it when a video just falls into your lap? There is a huge amount of Redfall shit happening right now, and this video was supposed to be totally different, but I just found the holy grail of what I wanted to fucking cover today. Hurrah! So this video was actually released very recently because of the whole Redfall 30 FPS drama, and since I don't like to make content on Twitter, I was looking around for videos on this stuff. But I found this one by the Canadian Gamer, and oh boy, is this going to be fun. I watched the first, 5 minutes of this thing, and I'm like, this needs a video, because if it doesn't, I'm going to fucking piss myself. Well, maybe not. I think that's that's why I don't know why I said that. I'm just very excited because I finally get a video that I want to talk about today. Because I was trying to talk about a different take of his for another 30 minutes that I'm probably never going to release that audio because that one was on the closing of the Nintendo DS and eShop and stuff, and I don't really have any investment in it. I don't have any investment in Redfall either, but I mean, he's going to make stupid points, and I want to get those stupid points in and across, so I am happy. So yeah, I get a nice, easy video, so come on, and let's gather around here, and let's bob for some bad takes. Let's get started.
Oh hey, I didn't see you come in there. Don't you knock? How's it going, guys? Cameron here is Canadian Gamer. Coming at you with another video. This video has been brought to you by your local Tim Hortons. For just a little under $3, you can get yourself a large double-double. Great deal. So today's topic of conversation, we are talking about the soon-to-be-released game Redfall, which was, I believe, developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda, coming out on May 2nd. Now, there's been a bit of a backlash in the gaming community because recently, just a few days ago, Arcane and Bethesda announced that Redfall will be releasing at a capped 30 FPS. Yes, you heard that here, 30 frames per second. And there's been a bit of a backlash in the gaming community. So
yes, there has been. This is a correct statement. And it is very much so justified because we were promised 60 FPS and stuff standard. Just remember that going forward. He's defending 30 FPS in this case.
In the gaming community. So I wanted to just sort of rant about this a little bit. So, what's the big deal? You know, a game being released at 30 FPS. Back in the day, excuse me. Back in like the PS3 days, Xbox 360 days, you were lucky if a game ran at 30 FPS. Most of those games, on those particular consoles, the frame rate absolutely dogged. It was like 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. Not always, but like some games with some serious frame rate pacing issues, especially on the PS3.
However, if you can recall back to those days, back to those times, you guys weren't complaining about that whatsoever. Barely.
What?
You guys were not complaining about it.
Excuse me?
You guys didn't complain about, the frames per second on PS2. You didn't complain about it on the original Xbox. You didn't complain about it on the Dreamcast. You just keep going back and back and back and back and back.
Huh? How are those three consoles even the fucking... What? Okay. How are those... First of all, how are those three consoles even the same in context? You're talking about PS2, you're talking about the original Xbox, and you're talking about the Dreamcast. All of those games came out in around 2001, which, that's understandable. We were mainly talking that all of this has started to come about because we were promised it with, say, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And the last generation, we were supposed to frequently reject the 30 FPS. And it was called under scrutiny so many times in the previous console generation. And now it's being called under scrutiny again because this time we were also promised the same fucking thing. You see what I'm getting at here? You're talking about PS2 era stuff. You're talking about the original Xbox console that came out in 2001, and the Dreamcast. What the fuck? What is this argument? I'm only 2 minutes in, And I'm already getting a little pissed at this. Let's continue.
Now we have these modern consoles, which have an option in most games for performance mode where you can run it at 60 FPS. And usually you've got a quality mode, which will run the game at 30 FPS. However, you're getting 4K textures, you might be getting some ray tracing effects, etc., etc., etc. So you gamers have been absolutely spoiled, because what happens is when you play a lot of these games, and I've talked about it a bit on this channel, when you're playing a game at 30 FPS and then you flip on performance mode and you see how much smoother it is at 60 FPS.
But Redfall doesn't offer that. That's the problem. The Redfall offers none of that. That's the thing.
In my eyes, I find it hard to go back to 30 FPS. I find it really hard to do that. Even if the graphical fidelity has been somewhat limited on performance mode, I'll take performance mode any day of the week. So the issue...
So, wait. So you're saying that you find it hard to go back to 30 FPS, and yet you're still going to defend the console of we're still going to defend the console release of Redfall releasing at 30 FPS with the supposed promise of other things. Remember, this is a video that he's supposedly telling to defend this. You're not really proving your argument.
The issue with that is, if you didn't have the option for performance mode, it may not be as apparent. You got to remember, a lot of us played these older games on the Xbox One, PS4. Again, played a lot of these games on the Xbox 360 at 30 FPS, and we didn't even think about it because your eyes are trained to adjust to the 30 FPS. It's only once you jump from 30 FPS to 60 in real time and jump back to 30 that you see how jarring it is. So, a lot of the gamers out there, now this is...
Oh, yeah, it's the good old argument of, yeah, you can only see in around 24 to 25 frames per second for your human eyeballs. Like, that's not fucking true. Like, that makes no sense as an argument. It doesn't. Because the human eye doesn't work like that. It works very much weird and stupid. But, I'm not a biology teacher, and nor do I plan to be one. But here's the thing with this. So because older consoles and stuff did used to run things at 30 FPS, it's an excuse today to continue to run something at an outdated frame rate. And again, we were promised that we were going to shed the 30 FPS standard well back in the beginning of not just this console generation, but the previous console generation as well. And that didn't necessarily happen. I think it kind of like flip-flopped around and it was just not as fun. But now that like a lot of those performance options and stuff like that has become standard, now that Redfall is releasing without those new standards, you're saying that that we've been spoiled because of them creating new standards? How is that being spoiled? Like here's one thing that I want to bring up. When I used to play console, my Xbox 360 back in the day, and my Xbox One, my 360 mostly, I remember I used to be sitting there staring at my screen for like hours playing video games because I lived in the suburbs. There's not the fuck much else to do. But the thing is that to me, it caused me eye strain. Like that's the only time I can remember getting caused eye strain. When I was playing video games. Like, I've never gotten that ever after the fact. Maybe once or twice on my PC, but it never happened. Because the 60 FPS actually made my eyes better, and maybe I just got used to it or something like that. But it used to run so bad, and it looked so bad on my eyeballs that they, like, strained and they stressed to, like, focus and stuff. I don't need glasses, really. But I don't know if other people have had this in the context of this. It's weird, but let's continue.
Again, very niche. This isn't the rest of the gamers out there in the world that don't watch YouTube. This is just a small group of YouTubers and social media influencers and people in the retro community that are making a big deal about this when it's actually much ado about nothing.
No, they said that we were going to get a 60 FPS standard, and even fucking PlayStation was promising 120 FPS standard on their fucking console, and even like 8K. And yet we have seen nothing from any of those companies to even do that. And then this game comes along and makes national news, at least in America, I think, to having a 30 FPS capped limit, and people are upset. And you're saying, oh, it's just a niche and small amount of vocal people. I don't think it's that niche. If the entirety of that announcement can get ratioed by your fucking grandma, like in terms of likes and retweets, and it gets quote retweeted and it's like, this is bullshit. That tweet went fucking viral. It's not niche if a tweet goes viral or something like that. And it makes fucking news. Like, not just regular news, but like maybe not mainstream news, but at least mainstream news in gaming. Like, that just... No. It's not just a small amount of people that are talking about this. Like, I think everyone is talking about this now.
If anything, Arcane Studios should be commended for deciding to release this game at a capped 30 FPS.
I would love to hear your argument for this.
You know, if they need a little bit more time to make sure that this game runs appropriately at 60 FPS, so be it. They've already announced that the game will run at 60 FPS at some point in the near future. Big freaking deal. I don't know why people are crying about this. You know,
They're oh my god, you just used the same fucking argument that they just tried to use on Twitter. What the fuck? Look, you can promise me the whole damn world, and that's the thing. You can promise people the whole damn fucking world, but if you don't provide that shit, people are gonna get pissed. You're saying that, oh, they're working on a mode to make it better and make it better in the future. What the fuck does that even, like, entail anything? Again, you could be talking out your ass, and they could be just working on the 30 FPS, and then once the game releases, then working on the 60 FPS stuff, because they need to then patch the fucking game. Either release the goddamn game with the industry standards that we currently have, or don't, or don't, and then work on it more. Like, it's not difficult to understand that we're not spoiled because we have a higher standard for a product that we are putting our fucking money towards. We still have to buy the game. And we still have to have the game be in the quality that we were expecting it to. They had said for a long time that this game was going to be a really big release. And if Microsoft's really huge fucking release doesn't release to this industry standards that they have been not only pushing, but that have been trying to exceed for a while, then don't fucking release the game. And again, it's one of those things where everyone's getting angry because of that exact reason that you just fucking stated. They're getting angry because we want better quality, because we're sick and tired of fucking games releasing half-busted and without good shit, that we're fucking sick of it. People are fucking sick of it. Like, I'm sick of it too. I played Modern Warfare 2 for a few months when it released. I racked up 100 hours in that shit. And then I'm like, and we're done. Because it doesn't have 2 years worth of fucking content in it. It just doesn't. Like, that game is so bad. And I'm a Call of Duty veteran. I was there for like the original Wii release of, say, fucking Black Ops 1. And I've been buying every COD game every year. That game is not fun anymore. Not just because I've gotten older, but also because it's not the same Call of Duty experience, or it's not the same fucking experience, because it's not good anymore. I got very unnecessarily angry at that. I'm sorry.
a lot of you guys really need to go outside and touch grass, literally. You need to walk outside, go outside, spend the day outside, and stop spending so much time on social media. It's ridiculous. A lot of you guys that are complaining about this are, you know, the same people that are probably not even interested in this game. Now, the game looks incredible. You know, it may even be a day one purchase for me. I don't know yet. It looks really good. And again, I've never had a problem playing a game at 30 FPS.
It's not that the game is unplayable. It really isn't. It has nothing to do with that. And the game looks fine. Like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big graphics dude, but Elden Ring has not the best graphics in the world, but its style is what makes it for me, in my opinion. But for Redfall, its graphics are mid at best, but the style still kind of brings it up a couple notches more. And again, the problem that everyone is having is that it feels like false advertising. It might not actually be false advertising because they never announced it to be anything above 30 FPS, so whatever. But you're saying that you have no problem with playing a game at 30 FPS, but earlier in the fucking rant that you had, you said that once you play a game at 60, you can't go back to playing a game at 30. So that means that 30 FPS you have a fucking problem with. You can't just say that you have a problem with 30 FPS once you experience a game at 60 FPS, and then you say that you can't go back to the 30 because it makes no sense. If you just... What the hell is this argument?
A lot of the first-person shooters back in the day were capped at 30 FPS, okay? It doesn't mean the game's unplayable. Oh, God, you guys, it's just like you're out to lunch. Seriously, you're out to lunch. It's funny. We have all this stuff going on in the world. You know, the economy's gone to shit. There's a war going on. There's people homeless, starving in the streets. There's a lot of people out there that have real-world situations going on, okay? Whereas if you told them about your little problem about Redfall running at 30 FPS, okay? If that was only their only problem that they had to deal with, they would be taking that in a heartbeat over what they're dealing with. But you guys that are living with your first world problems and you're sitting there crying about a game that you're probably not even interested in playing because the game's capped at 30 FPS and you're jumping on a social media bandwagon. Oh, that Arcane Studios, how dare they not give me my 60 FPS? You guys just need to pump the brakes just a little bit, okay? Is the game unplayable at 30 FPS? No. Dreamcast guy acts like it's a slideshow at 30 FPS. Okay, sure, Dreamcast guy. Sure. No, the game will be serviceable at 30 FPS.
But that's not the point! That's not the fucking point! You're missing the forest for the goddamn trees, Canadian gamer. You are missing the forest for the goddamn trees. Just because you don't have a problem with 30 FPS doesn't mean that other people don't have a problem with 30 FPS. I have a problem with 30 FPS now. It's not that the game itself is unplayable at 30 FPS. The problem with it is that they offered only a 30 FPS mode, and then it became an industry standard to have performance options so you can get that 60 FPS push to make the game run smoother. But the problem then becomes that if you don't follow those fucking standards and hold yourself accountable to those standards, people are going to get mad about it. And I find it stupid how in that whole rant that he just went on, he's like, oh, well, your problems are really small in comparison to that. Your problems are infinitesimal in the grand scheme of the fucking universe, dude. It is unequivocally stupid that you're trying to make this a positive. Because, yeah, 30 FPS is not unplayable. 30 FPS is not the worst thing in the world. But it's been the industry standard for fucking years at this point. Way too long. And people are sick of it. Whenever they promise to push past it, they always somehow take 2 steps backward, and we're ending up back at square one where we currently are. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is you and the types of people who try to defend the 30 FPS that are keeping the industry held back. It's moving on.
And if you're not happy with 30 FPS, hey, you can wait until the 60 FPS patch is released, or you can play it on PC.
But they might not even release the patch in a couple weeks. It might be a few months or even a year that they release this 60 FPS patch. You don't know. You honestly have no fucking clue when this patch is going to be released. Do you sit at the fucking table? Are you working on the fucking game? I don't fucking think so.
It's not really a big deal. The Xbox ecosystem, Xbox is not just the console anymore, okay? Xbox, the brand, is the console and the PC. So if you want to play it at 60 FPS, go play it on the PC, okay? Otherwise, wait a couple of weeks and the patch will be released. You guys are crying about nothing. The game's going to run buttery smooth at 30 FPS, okay? That's the key thing. They want to get the game out the door, make sure that it's running appropriately, okay? They've already delayed this game once or twice before, okay? Arcane can't delay this game again, okay? You guys don't seem to understand. There's a lot of shareholders at play, people that own stocks in the company, that are expecting a solid Q2 result, okay? And they can't afford to delay this game. If the game is ready to rock at 30 FPS, okay, and everything else is ready to go, we'll release the game at 30 FPS on the Xbox, and then at a later date drop the 60 FPS mode, okay? There's no point releasing.
But it's a first-party fucking game, though. It should at least be running just as good on the consoles, if not as well the PC. And yeah, you're correct in saying that the Xbox brand is no longer just the console, it's also a bit of the PC. But at the same time, you're, again, missing the fucking point as to why people are complaining about this. People are complaining because, unfortunately, we've been stuck at 30 on consoles for fucking years at this point. They have been. People are getting, again, sick of it. It's one of those things where you're missing, again, the forest for the trees and trying to say and lump all these people together as crazy niche individuals without realizing that it's a lot of people it's a lot more people than you fucking think it is.
In the game at 30 FPS and 60 FPS, if there's issues with the 60 FPS mode in particular, because that's just going to draw even more negativity. But you guys don't seem to want to look at it like that. You guys just want to, just for the sake of clicks, you want to go out there and complain and cry about how it's not running at 60 FPS. Guys, think about it. Think about it from a 360-degree perspective, okay? The game is ready to rock at 30 FPS. Just let Arcane release the game like that, okay? And if you don't want to enjoy the game, don't play it. If it's on Game Pass, you've got an option. Again, you can go on PC and play it. Or you can wait a couple of weeks or a couple of months, however long it takes for the patch to be released for 60 FPS. But again,
that is bullshit. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. People say positive things about stuff all the time. They really fucking do. And it's not your job to be policing other people and how they relay their fucking opinions on things. There's another, 47 seconds of this video, but I'm done. I can't do this. I'm fairly certain that you've gotten the point now. The thing is that Redfall, to me, I might get it, but I'm unsure as to right now because I forgot that game even existed until recently, so I might get it. But the thing is, the point and the reason why people are getting upset about 30 FPS is this. 30 FPS has been the, quote, industry standard for fucking years. And people are sick and tired of constantly saying, oh, we're going to make the next game more FPS based, and the next console generation is going to give more FPS based. And we were promised a breakage of 30 FPS as recently as this fucking newest console generation. We have been promised that, and they fucking broke that promise. An obligation to make better quality games. And yeah, certainly there's shareholders and stocks and shit that need to get added into that. And it comes down to the fact that they wanted to raise the standards of the game. They wanted to raise the standards of the game, and they said that they were going to hold themselves to a higher standard, and yet they have broken that. And it is... I don't get why people are defending the 30 FPS thing. Personally, I don't care either way, but if you're trying to defend it in such a way that you don't understand the reason why people are upset, then you shouldn't give out that... Well, maybe you... I mean, you can give out whatever the fuck opinion you want, but if your opinion not only is ill-informed, but also doesn't understand the concept as to why a person might be upset about it, or you don't want to listen to the other person's side, much like Canadian Gamer and how he continuously insults not only his own audience that he's talking to, but also the people who are defending this shit, that means that he's not willing to do a constructive conversation. And that's what I don't like about Canadian Gamer, I guess, in this context. That's what I don't like about anyone that just is like a fanboy. It's like they don't allow for constructive criticism and context. Anyway, I think that this is going to be a bit of a longer one. I might edit it down a little bit, speed up certain parts. But I really wanted to get this video up because, honestly, I wanted to cover another Canadian Gamer game. Canadian Gamer thing. Anyway, I think that that's going to do it for this video. My name is GamePenguin21. Canadian Gamer. I didn't mention this before, but what the fuck is that that camera quality? It looks like ass still. And a peace off.